It looks like the entire media commentariat and the majority of politicians have egg on their face after an entire media frenzy of accusing the West Midlands police and everyone else of anti-Semitism for the ban on Maccabi Tel Aviv football hooligans coming to this country. An interesting development has happened, which has been the icing on the cake.
Just want to bring you some breaking news from Tel Aviv now. And a derby match between the city's rival soccer teams, Hapoel Tel Aviv and Maccabi Tel Aviv, has been cancelled after riots broke out in and around the stadium. The match was set to take place tonight in the city's Bloomfield Stadium when fans began to riot. In a statement on X, Maccabi Tel Aviv FC said, following the police's decision, it was determined that the Tel Aviv derby will not take place tonight. So that the very latest news out of Tel Aviv itself on that match between city rivals Hapoel Tel Aviv and Maccabi Tel Aviv being cancelled this evening.
So how does this work? Is Israel now anti-Semitic? Will we hear from our Prime Minister call this out? Is there going to be a media storm about how Jews are not welcome in Tel Aviv? The BBC goes into more detail. The Israeli Premier League derby between Maccabi Tel Aviv and Hapoel Tel Aviv was cancelled before kickoff on Sunday after what police described as public disorder and violent riots. Dozens of smoke grenades and pyrotechnic devices were thrown. Israeli police posted on X, adding, "This is not a football game. This is disorder and serious violence." 12 civilians and 3 officers were injured, police said, while 9 people were arrested and 16 detained for questioning. Now, it was Ayub Khan who led a petition calling for Maccabi fans to be banned, receiving a whole host of attacks and abuse. Khan has now called out Keir Starmer, demanding an apology.
Shame on you, Keir Starmer. And shame on you, Kemi Badenoch, and all the other politicians and news anchors that sought to conflate matters. Contrary to Keir Starmer's disgraceful comment labelling our West Midlands Police and the Safety Advisory Group as anti-Semitic, this was never about religion. It was always about hooligans. And I'm confident that you know this deep down. We have now yet had another taste of these hooligans. People who show no mercy, not even on their own turf, let alone ours. The riots in Derby, Tel Aviv have left police officers and civilians injured. I will continue to support our Chief Constable and the decisions he makes, even when everyone else chose to throw him under the bus. It was shameful that not a single politician here in Birmingham, bar me, stood by his decision and that of the Safety Advisory Group. The disgraceful and libelous and irresponsible comments made by some politicians have put me and my family in danger. Those that seek to sow division, know this: you will never succeed. I will always stand up for what is just and right without fear or favour. Keir Starmer, you owe an apology to our Chief Constable and to all the others. Wait for my letter before action.
That's actually a great video. And if you notice, because I noticed that, they've got Hans Zimmer from Inception playing that song. I think the song's called Time. Really adds that oomph. But he's absolutely right. Now, former Liberal Democrat leader Tim Farron opted not to apologise. Instead, decided to double down. Ayub Khan was far more honest than most regarding the Maccabi Tel Aviv ban. Look at his original statement below. The ban is because of the political dynamics. In other words, the ban is not to protect us from them, but them from us, which remains utterly shameful. Yes, you can't separate the political dynamics from it. Maccabi Tel Aviv fans were singing the rape song. These are the lyrics. And trigger warning, by the way, is pretty fucked up. You act like you're so radical, singing songs about the Holocaust and think it's cool to renounce the states. You're the Arab whores. We are ashamed of you. At the end of the day, Gate 5, we will fuck you. We will fuck you. And then we will drink your blood. In the town square, we will hang every communist who comes here. We will take your girls who love to party. When we'll rape them, we will shout, "Today is death, Hapoel. Today is death, Hapoel." Now, of course, the reference at the end is that this is a chant to Hapoel Tel Aviv, their rivals. And according to Maccabi Tel Aviv fans, the Hapoel Tel Aviv are seen as left wing, and the reason why they're seen as left wing is because they're not quite as enthusiastic about genocide. So there's no really left wing in Israel, but that's what they think, and that's the chant towards them, right? But they're singing rape songs, and Keir Starmer, the media commentariat, politicians sided with violent hooligans singing rape songs against our police. They also chanted death to Arabs and have shown their support to the IDF. So it's entirely political. Now, a man named Andrew Fox was interviewed on Sky. He was introduced as a Jewish Villa fan who received online abuse.
However, in the last 24 hours, I've had online death threats over this issue. I was threatened to be stabbed if I went to the game. And, if they can't protect Maccabi Tel Aviv fans, how can they protect my Jewish friends when they're walking around wearing an Aston Villa shirt and a Star of David? How can they protect me when I'm getting death threats online? This is really serious stuff. So I think the police generally do a great job, but they do owe us a better explanation as to what's actually going on here. Everyone just wants to go to a football match safely, enjoy the game, enjoy our magnificent stadium at Villa Park, and hopefully see an Aston Villa win. And that's what everyone wants. So without fans in the stadium and the opposing away end, that is going to impair the experience. So I would like to see the local council and the police do everything they can to facilitate this as a normal football game where everyone can enjoy the match in safety.
Sky then tweeted a reply after uploading the video. They said, "This is a correction of a previous post that incorrectly identified Mr. Fox as Jewish." So he isn't Jewish. Why did they initially assume he was? Now, that video, Mr. Fox, he seemed pretty reasonable. He just said, I want people to watch football, and that's it, right? Well, it goes deep with Fox because this isn't just some random concerned football fan. He's a Zionist. Normalize calling it the Gaza genocide hoax. Yes, just casually denying a genocide. He's had more online interactions about Israel. The last 48 hours have been objectively fascinating. Remember, the aim of the pro-Palestine campaign is to make Israel a pariah state. They aim to achieve this through endlessly lying about Israel and anything connected to it. The Maccabi Tel Aviv ban is a great example, a chance to kick Israel out of sport as part of the wider isolation plan and make Israeli fans pariahs too. By speaking against the ban, I put a target on my own back. Amazingly, the storm of attacks followed the same pattern. Libel and lies, driven by pro-Palestinian influencers, then amplified by a storm of bots. The key point is this: they have no real arguments. There's no genuine genocide case, so they make one up. There's no real reason to ban Maccabi fans, so they invent one. They can't attack my argument, so they attack me. Because their argument is built on sand and lies. They can't defend it with reason, so they create a storm of noise, using their far greater numbers to drown out the truth. Here's my article explaining the experience and exposing the tactics. So, as you can see, he is a highly politicised person. He's an Israel supporter and he's denied genocide on multiple times. Yet Sky News brings him on as a concerned person about the Jewish community. Maya, these recent developments have utterly exposed the media class, haven't they?
Absolutely, yes. I could tell you hands down he's not a Jew. He called it a Star of David, not a Magen David. Come on, he's not one of us. Told you straight away. But yeah, I think the media is always desperate to portray Jews in a certain way. And that way is always negative, realistically. Despite the fact that so many prominent Jewish people or Jewish people who are prominent are anti-Zionist. Zach Polanski, for one, he's a Jewish anti-Zionist and he's very proud about that fact. Me, not that I'm prominent, but even Nice. His name has just escaped me. Oh my goodness, the children's author, Michael Rosen. There we go. He's a Jew and he's anti-Zionist and he's loud about that. The second anyone brings, the media is just always so desperate to portray anti-Semitism where it isn't and then not call out anti-Semitism where it is. They have completely changed the definition of anti-Semitism to the extent where, as a Jewish person, if you complain about any valid anti-Semitism, everyone throws their hats because they assume it's not anti-Semitism, it's just anti-Zionism because that's what the media does. Also, I didn't know the government was concerned about bigotry in police. Did they do anything after the report calling the Metropolitan Police institutionally racist? Do you know what I mean? Like, when have our police ever, when has the government ever been concerned about the morality of the police? Never, never, ever. But the second they can weaponize it to push the Zionist narrative, they do it like that. And it pisses me off because there is so much legitimate cause for concern about the safety of Jewish people that has absolutely nothing to do with the state of Israel, you know? And when news outlets conflate Judaism with Zionism and assume, oh, he's Zionist, he must be a Jew, all it does is make Jews more unsafe. All it does is compromise Jewish safety in your community and in this country because everyone assumes that we're Zionists and everyone assumes that we're baby killers. That's it.
Yeah, you mentioned there that you're Jewish. So how has the weaponization of anti-Semitism affected you or your friends? Of course, one thing you're so right, which is that the media talks about anti-Semitism where it doesn't exist and then ignores it where it does exist. I mean, the conflation of anti-Semitism in the state of Israel, which the media does all the time, is anti-Semitic in of itself, and that's not called out. But yeah, like, can you tell me your experience of what it's like when you see these kinds of stories, when you see politicians jump on those that support Palestine or oppose a genocide as being anti-Semitic and Jew hater?
I'm just so chronically unsurprised by it. It's been happening for a long time. It's been happening, you know, before October 7th. It's been happening long before that because this is an age-old anti-Semitic kind of trope called the dual loyalty trope, that Jews will, whatever country we're in, we're always secretly loyal to the biblical land of Israel because that's where we come from. And everything that Israel have done and everything the Israeli government have done and everything that the West has done into backing Israel has only further contributed to anti-Semitism. It just gives a lovely base to attack us from. You know what I mean? It is so frustrating when there is so much legitimate cause for concern, and it only pushes, you know, some Jewish people further towards Zionism. What's the alternative? What is the alternative where in every single kind of, you know, the government is you assume that I'm going to act like it. You know what I mean? Not that I'm a Zionist, couldn't be me.
Yeah, and it's very interesting. It's almost as if, you know, the media and the right-wing politicians are using the code of fighting against anti-Semitism to push their anti-Semitism, right? Because the whole dual loyalty thing, a very old anti-Semitic trope, but the entire media are literally openly pushing that because they're saying, if you attack Zionism, if you attack Israel, if you attack football hooligans from a very specific team, that's attacking Jewish people. So it's like they're very open about that anti-Semitism with the Jewish loyal conspiracy theory, or dual loyal conspiracy theory, whilst also coding it as anti-Semitic.
It's like you can't critique all this violence because they're Jews.
Literally.
What does that? What? So we're just violent people? Like that is, and genuinely, that's the narrative that they want because they, the kind of media establishment, want you to see us as Jewish people, as the Jewish community, as violent, as inherently Israeli, as nothing but the country that we, do you know what I mean? That represents us, as if you're suddenly, you know, blaming everything, despite the fact that, like, I've said this before, that, like, I, as a Jewish person, have less ties to Israel than I do as a British person, because as a British person, you know, money, like I pay my taxes, and it goes to the government, who then pays it to train IDF soldiers, to, you know what I mean, pay for the Israeli military, to, you know, send bombs over, all that stuff. Me being Jewish, I don't send any money over there, but I do because I'm British. But just because I'm Jewish means that obviously I'm supporting Israel. No, I'm doing that because I'm British. Unintentional.